Did you see that?
Huh?
I'm Basil, and this is Will.
This is not Will. This is the DW 600mm. I'm Will.
We are from Grayson Hobby shop, located right outside of Atlanta, Georgia. So today, we go to the field and fly. Actually, not today, about a couple months ago. A couple months ago, we went to the field and flew this DW Hobby 600mm little remote control airplane. We made in this flight.
This was a Maiden on the video, yes.
Maiden's the first flight of the airplane. So where can you get one of these guys? We can get them in store right here in Loganville, Georgia, or
GraysonHobby.com.
Right, so here's Will at the field.
All right, here comes the Maiden hand launch.
Look at my shadow. Look at that great form. All right, so discus launch looks like there it goes.
It's about half throttle to 2/3 throttle on these little guys. It's using a GWS style 50x30 prop, so it's a 5-inch prop, 3-inch pitch. Decent little power, 2-cell. I'm using a high voltage 2-cell lipo. This little sucker will get about 10-minute flight on that easily with mixed throttle.
So that's 1,000 millimeters.
This is the 1,000mm wing.
1,000.
1 meter. 600mm. Lot smaller.
And I know this wing is this video is about a 600mm wing, but I stand by it. Bigger always flies better.
Stable, fly anywhere. In this video, please hit that like button below so we know that you guys enjoyed the video, so we continue making these. Harder to film such a small little plane,
especially
this
if somebody...
not exactly slow either. And I'm not telling you what I'm doing.
And he doesn't tell me what he's doing, and he's flying so high on a little airplane.
Well, it's crazy. Like when you get a plane in the air, you're taking a couple mistakes high and you trim.
There he comes. Look at that low pad. And then I finally started yelling at him. All right, get lower.
So this is some slow flying over here. You can see. Then I'm going to go down the runway and then take it back around.
The one thing I noticed is really quiet on a little
it's basically a old school multi-rotor style prop, which you could probably switch out to something else.
You did a loop there. How's it loop? Do you remember?
Yeah, it had plenty of power. There's nothing wrong. And we got a little 80mm drone chasing us with my brother.
Not a UFO.
Yes, it is not. Well, the government knows what that is.
It's actually worse than drones.
I don't know. It's disappearing pretty quick there. But basically, this is a really lightweight plane. So, it's one of those things you can take it out, fly it in a small park, something like that, keep it in the car with like a little pocket radio or something. Be a great little travel setup.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it doesn't need a lot of area to fly. You can slow it down. You can fly it quick. It's not going to bother your neighbors, stuff like that, if you're flying in an area.
Or your neighbor's dogs or neighbor's kids.
Yeah, and it's really small. And the price, it's under $50 for this little kit right here. All you're going to need is a battery, receiver, and obviously your radio and battery or charger equipment. But as far as the kit goes, it's going to come with motor, ESC, and servos. But the plane itself flies very well. I will say, compared to the 1,000mm, it's going to be twitchier because it's smaller.
Yeah.
So if you're never flown a wing before, I would probably look at the 1,000mm that we carry. But if you have flying experience, you've flown UMX planes, stuff like that, you kind of have the idea the smaller is a little twitchier compared to a larger plane. But that being said, the wings are, in my opinion, still easier to fly. And the plane itself flies really good. And with the EPP foam, again, if you smack it into something, chances are with the weight, how lightweight this thing is, plus the EPP foam is not going to damage it. So here we're just flying around.
You're going fast now. Man, that thing looks like it. I promise you it's not fast forward. There's a bug in the lens.
Yeah.
It's not the drones, it's the bugs.
It's a real fast drone.
Yeah. So,
but just doing some basic passes with it.
Man, oh man, that's hauling. So you got to be at full throttle right here.
It's probably, I want to say it's as fast as the 1,000mm. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going fast on a little 2-cell. So, and that field we're at Hilltop Flyers. We've done all our videos there. They're a great field, great location. And we don't let anybody know we're filming because look at that. There is absolutely nobody there.
There's no nitro engines running in the background to drown it out. Even though our audio cut out, so this is why we're doing this anyway.
Usually we tell everybody we're going to be there. Some guy wants to get his old 1970 nitro engine and just wide open.
Nothing wrong with it, but time
wide open throttle on the bench for the whole time we're filming. And then he's done when we're done. Imagine that.
So we're just flying around here, basic flying, and it cuts in and out of the video for focus, unfortunately.
God, who's that cameraman?
I know. We need to really...
I don't think it's the cameraman. I think it's more the pilot.
Yeah, something like that.
See, if you flew... Yeah, look at that. That's clear because you flew...
5 feet away from you?
Yeah.
I know. That's crazy. Yeah. So this is just basic flight footage, and we'll chop it up as we need or whatever. But
so the kit, the wing actually comes pre-painted, or as they say, silk screens. Again, you can come at GraysonHobby.com, or you can buy a whole case. They ship 1, we ship 2, we ship 3.
Or 23. It's up to you.
Yeah. This kit does come pre-painted or silkscreen, as they call it. And it comes with all the electronics. It comes with the servos and the motor and the ESC. And the only thing you're going to need, and all the hardware, the only thing you're going to need is a battery and receiver.
Think of it as a plug and play that you have to assemble.
Yeah, like all the DW
no
Hobby
receiver,
wings.
no battery included.
Yeah. 1 second. I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Which connector did this come with?
This comes with a JST connector from the factory. So I did change the connector out to use the batteries that I fly for, well, my Meteor 85. But I have a lot of the 2-cell 450s. The price is really good on these batteries. They work extremely well. They balance the plane out very well. But they do have an XT30 connector. So you're going to either need an XT30, a JST adapter, or what I did, cut off the inadequate JST, because that is an old school connector. We don't use that anymore, and change it out to an XT30, which you can get an XT30 set of connectors for $1 kind of thing. Yeah. So it's not a huge thing. And I would recommend changing all JSTs you ever own to a
quick
XT30.
Tip. If you're going to change out your battery connectors, don't use
one at a time. One
at a time. Well, it's not the batteries. I mean, if you're going to change out ESC connectors, quick tip, one at a time. But don't use household wire nuts.
Yeah.
You think I make this stuff up? I don't. I wish I did, but I've been to the field and the guy's using wire nuts to hold his airplane in, and they wonder why it fell out of the sky.
It's a true story. Unfortunately, I've seen it. Or the crimps, the little solderless crimps. Don't do that. Just solder it up.
So, any build tips you have to give for us?
Plane wise, it's very straightforward. I use medium CA almost exclusively on this plane. The foam tack you could use for the foam to foam on the winglets and the center fuse. But other than that, I use medium CA from Bob Smith and the accelerator to fuse the carbon to the foam, which makes a really strong bond. The control horns, once I glued them in with the CA, I actually put a puddle of CA on the top and bottom to increase the surface area, and then I sprayed the kicker on it and made a nice solid mount so the control horn doesn't flex any.
So do you need epoxy?
No, I would not use epoxy on this plane. I think medium CA is really all you need to assemble it.
Regular CA, not foam safe CA.
Yeah, I recommend the Bob Smith medium CA all day long.
Not even though it's foam, not foam safe.
Yeah, you do not need foam safe for EPP. It actually works better on EPP not to be. As far as out of the box, you're going to want to flex the hinges. These are live foam hinges.
Before you put the...
Yeah, before you put the control horns on, you're going to want to move the control surfaces back and forth, make sure they move freely.
It's like stretching. You want to stretch.
Pretty much. Yeah. You want to make sure you don't have a tight hinge because the servo does have to overcome that. And
tight
these
hinge.
are smaller servos. As far as the only thing I personally ran into in the build that I kind of goofed was the control horns. They are a mixture of metal wire with L-bends and then carbon fiber tube with shrink tube over it. I did rough up the edges where the wire and the carbon touch, and then I put medium CA, and then I put the shrink tube over it. The first time I did it, I did not shrink. I didn't do it with the roughing it up and all that, and I felt like it slid out a little bit. So I went back, and I would probably recommend if you don't have any small shrink tube, maybe pick up some of the 2mm shrink tube that we sell on the website. It's like $1, under $1, something like that, to have extra if you've never done shrink tube style push rods before. Because that's one thing, it's hard to find locally if you don't have any.
Yeah. So
I would recommend that as well, just a little extra in your bag for the build. But other than that, O-rings / rubber bands for the prop savers all day long. It's a really quick build.
You're not going to need the prop saver because it is a pusher. Like if that prop breaks on the rear, you got other problems, in my opinion. Your plane's probably crashed pretty bad, and the prop is probably not the
The prop is flexible too, but the fact that it is a prop saver is just all you really need on the size. You don't need to go crazy and put a collet on or anything like that.
I did notice you actually put the wingtips on correct. Congratulations.
I didn't put them backwards on. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for pointing that out every time we do a video now.
I've never would have noticed on the last build.
The Velcro strap that I put on here does not come with the plane. I did that separately. I also...
Back up. How do you, without that strap, then how does the manufacturer...
A little piece of Velcro.
Okay.
You could put the battery in. Honestly, friction fit would probably be fine.
Okay.
Depending on the battery. If you have the wider style 450s, it'll just kind of slide right in with a little piece of Velcro and you'll be fine. Because I use my drone batteries, they're more like a piece of Trident gum oversized. I actually cut out a little bit of foam to make it sit lower, and then I put the Velcro strap through the bottom and then around.
Did you have to put slits in the foam?
I did put 2 slots in the foam and then run the Velcro around.
So you'll need a X-Acto knife.
Yeah, it's a tool. They actually show it in the manual to use.
Oh.
But and then I also slotted the foam where the plywood goes into the top, the 3 little spots. But other than that, guys, you could literally build one of these with medium CN kicker probably an hour or less easily at the kitchen table kind of thing. Make sure you put something down so you don't get glue on the table.
Wax paper.
Yes.
Wax paper. You're welcome.
But this is a super quick build. If you're looking to build EPP foamies, you want something small, this is a great introduction because it's super easy, super quick, flies great. Yes, Basil.
Question.
Where do you get this? No.
Where do you get this? You get this at GraysonHobby.com. In store, or online. These do ship. Or if you don't want to buy one, you want to hold it and look, there you go.
Come to the store.
Real question. Does this have enough power to put like a streamer on there so you can do combat?
You could put little streamers on it. Yeah, it's got plenty of power for that.
So if I would just attach them to the ends.
Yeah, like that paper mache ribbon
stuff.
Like
they do for birthday streamers. You put, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that may be the next video we do.
But yeah.
Well, I think we thoroughly overstayed our welcome on this video here, talking about this airplane.
Bottom line, again, guys, small, micro, fun, sub 250 plane.
250 grams, which means you don't need to get registered through the FAA.
The flying weight's probably like 120 grams or so, depending on battery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another important thing for most people this day and age, it's under $50.
Yes.
And it's so cheap, it doesn't even qualify for free shipping, unfortunately. Crazy, right?
Now, if you get 2 of them,
that qualifies for free shipping.
If you don't have a receiver, recommended receivers, I would say, if you're running Spectrum, the Lemon RX 6-channel receiver works fine. You may have to decase it depending on how you mount your speed control in there.
Decasing means just taking the plastic off.
Take the plastic shell off. It's 2 pops.
It's really easy to do. It's not intimidating.
If you're using Radio Master 4-in-1, the R84 is a very small postage stamp style receiver, 4-channel, works great. If you're using ELRS, the ER4 from Radio Master also works extremely well because it's essentially the ELRS version of the R84. Yeah. But those are the 3 receivers I would recommend. If you have other modules, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. So I'm hearing it works with Spectrum and Radio Master.
And ELRS.
It actually works with any receiver you could fit in there.
Standard servo plugs.
As long as you as long as you have the radio that goes with that receiver you have.
Yes.
So you can use an old high-tech with the antenna that goes as long as you have the receiver.
And then last but not least, quick build tip. I think we covered it in the earlier part of the video, but just in case, when you are building these, the manual should tell you, but on a flying wing, you do not put the control surface perfectly flat. You actually want 8 to 10 degrees of up reflex, and what that means is the control surface is actually slightly upwards several degrees, and that way when you hand launch, for the first hand launch, you're more likely to climb up than nosedive.
Up is good.
But if you put it perfectly level, you're almost guaranteed to nosedive into the ground or go straight forward and not be able to climb out on a hand launch.
Into the ground is bad, yeah.
Yeah. So you do want the upwards bias in your elevators when you set them up. So, and that's really the only trick, and that's any flying wing. Or Delta tail.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there you go, guys. Check it out. GraysonHobby.com. DW Hobby. Flying Wing 600.
So, other than the obvious, how's the fly compared to a big wing?
So it flies almost the same. It's a little, I'd say it's twitchier, but it's also super light and durable. So I mean, it's one of those things. If you plant in the ground, you're probably not